Hey everybody, it's Tara Wilder here, founder of NVivo, and I am so excited to introduce to you Ruth Stern, transformational business coach and a friend of mine. We met 2.5 years ago when I was I think 2 months into my business. She's probably one of my oldest quote unquote contacts that I've had in my business, and we met through the power of networking. And she turned into a client of mine, and then later we collaborated on something which is going to be released soon, which I'm really excited about. And she recently interviewed me on her platform, and I'm like, this girl, she knows her stuff, and I wanted to introduce her to you all. Now, we're going to be talking about business success. I realize that I'm an online marketing strategist, and that's what I typically talk about on my platform. But a lot of online marketing has to do with how you manage your business and your business's success, which is why I like to have my business coach friends come in once in a while and give us their brilliance. So I'm really excited to introduce you, Ruth. Thank you so much for being here today, Ruth.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Yes. So let me read you guys her bio, because the bio she sent me that I'm going to share with you guys later, in the post as well, is just so good. I mean, I can't really recreate it. Ruth is a transformational business coach, coaching heart-centered entrepreneurs who struggle with finding their ideal clients. Ruth shows them how to build a thriving six-figure income, filling their business with their dream clients, which sounds amazing. That was me. While helping themselves release their blocks that keeps them stuck so that they can stand confidently in being visible and building their freedom lifestyle. And I especially like this because, we went into business for a lot of different reasons. And one of the most common ones is to have a freedom-based lifestyle. And it's not that easy. Just having your own business isn't how it works. So I'm really excited to have you here, Ruth. Can you tell us a little bit about you, how you came to be in the business of business coaching, and why you're passionate about this?
Well, I started out, and I still have my practice. I'm a mental health therapist and a business coach. So I've been a therapist in private practice. I started my own business 25 years ago, and I didn't know anything about marketing. I call it spaghetti marketing. Throw the spaghetti on the wall and hope it works. And magically, I was able to build a practice, but with a lot of struggling and not making a whole lot of money. And I would hit an income ceiling all the time. So I thought I really need to start learning how to market. Plus, I had a product I was putting out at the time. I was excited about this product. And I made the product, but I had no idea how to market it. So I started entering the world of marketing, and I studied everything that I could, and I loved it. And I started using the things I learned, and my business got bigger. So I was so excited, I decided I want to teach this to other entrepreneurs, coaches, counselors like myself. And my business opened 6 years ago as a transformational business coach. And the reason I call it transformational is I teach the marketing of how to find your clients. I'm a client marketing strategist, both online and offline. But the transformational part is I don't do anything without helping people with their mindset, because every client I've worked with, and I mean everyone, they can know a bunch of strategies, but if they don't feel confident, if they don't believe in themselves, if they procrastinate, there is no business. And so I can give them the tools, and then they can come back and go, well, I didn't do it, or I was afraid to do this, I couldn't do that. And we have to go to what is in their way. And unless if I don't help them what's within their way, nothing happens. So that's what this topic is about. How to stop sabotaging your success with one question is really looking at the mindset part of the business today. What's behind it so you can be successful? And that became my passion, because just like everyone else, I too had fears. Fear to be visible, fear to be out there, fear, will my product be good enough? Will people buy it? I had a ton of fears, and I still have stuff that comes up, but I know what to do because I have the tools. And so that's what keeps me in the game. That's what makes me more and more successful, because I work on I believe success is an inside job. It really is.
Absolutely. That was one of the biggest lessons that I learned at the beginning of my business is that there are blocks there. And a lot of times you don't even know what your blocks are. You may just be, I don't know, you just kind of go with it and you're like, oh, well, why am I not seeing the success that I have? Let me invest more in courses and in tools. And as much as I love courses and tools, I wouldn't be here without them. And I know you wouldn't either. A lot of times it's within. It's within. And I love working with coaches because they're able to reflect back what it is that is what you're experiencing and then give you an outside perspective on what might be going on inside. And what I love especially about you as a business coach is that you have a background in psychology as well, not only in education, but also in experience. So you have a gift for being able to see what's going on inside and then kindly and gently maybe shifting that or guiding the person to shift it.
Yeah, yeah. I listened to one time a mentor who called it changing your channel. So it's teaching people to change the channel. Like right now, I'm thinking funky, I'm thinking bad, I'm thinking awful, I'm a failure, I'm no good. Bam, switch the channel. That's what we teach them. We have to switch the channel, and then we teach the tools, and I'm going to teach one of the tools today.
That's so great. And I actually really like that analogy because it implies that that next channel of empowerment and movement and all that is within me. I have it. I
Yes,
don't have to go out and find it or fake it or whatever. Like I already have that. It's just a matter of accessing it.
exactly.
I
That's what,
love that.
yeah.
So tell us about this tool.
Okay. So many of us unknowingly do sabotage ourselves because we have fears. You know, we sabotage ourselves by saying things that stop us from going forward. I'm not good enough. That person who's doing it down the street is better than me. There's a million things that can happen. And I'm going to give you an example of how I was on the brink of sabotaging myself until I used this one question. So here's what I mean. We have negative thoughts that they run through our head. We have about 60,000 thoughts a day, and 3/4 of them are negative. They actually measured this for the average person. So that's a lot of negativity most of us are running in our minds every day. So if that's true, and it is, we have to have tools to turn that around. So when we do that, we'll be happier, we'll be more successful, we'll have a different life. So how do you do that? Well, one way is through questions. Here's an example. I'm kind of going backwards and I'll come back to my story.
No, I love this.
Let's say someone is trying to lose weight, which I've done many times and I failed. And they try and they can't. And they'll say things like, why? Hear this question. Why can't I lose weight? We call that a negative question. And because you're only going to get a negative answer, because the answer is going to be because I'm lazy, because I can't. So negative questions get a negative response. So the way to turn that around is to have a positive question. And an example in this one would be, what's one small thing could I do to get closer to my goal? So the person who's discouraged and they ask that one question, that one little thing might help them move forward. That's an example. But now I'm going to give the example of what happened to me and how I used one question to turn around what could have been a disaster. So it was a few years ago, I was doing a live event, and I had done them before and they were pretty successful, but this one I put in my blood, sweat, and tears. I put in about $4,000, you know, between renting the hotel, all the money, and hardly anyone signed up. In fact, some of the people that signed up were already my clients, and it was going to be a free event to bring them to a higher end offer. And I went, oh my God, it's now a loss. Not just the money, but I really wanted to do this. I knew that what I was going to offer was going to be great, and the disappointment. I had a coach at the time who wasn't the best, unfortunately. And I got on the phone with her and I was crying, and she said, you know, just suck it up. That happens. That's the way it is. And I said, you know, and I got off the phone. She wasn't any help. And I just sat on my kitchen floor and I cried. And then I don't know what it was that actually shifted me in that moment, but I got quiet within myself and I asked the question. And this one, because it depends on what it is. So my one question was, what would it take to save this? I wasn't ready to give up. What would it take to save this event? And I got quiet, and that's part of the secret of the one question. You have to get quiet, because if you're stressed and pressured, you won't come up with the answer. The answer won't be the best answer. And I just went within, and I waited, and it popped. And in this particular answer for this particular thing, what popped was, if anybody's curious out there who's listening, I said, I'm going to offer the few people that are there a $200 gift certificate. And if they do a free consult with me and decide to purchase the program, they can put the $200 towards the program. 4 of the 4, well, 3 of the 4 said yes. And it became a $12,000 event versus negative 4,000.
That's incredible, Ruth. I didn't know that.
Yes, that, but what I'm saying is, it all started with one question. Because what would happen is, you know, I was saying, why did this happen? It's what's wrong? Well, I'm a failure. I messed it up. That wasn't getting me anywhere. And I actually coached myself with the one question. And so I get excited about questions. When I grew up, the reason I think I'm really expanding on this more and more, because I teach clients all the time, what question can we ask now to move you out of this negative place that you're in? And I thought, why am I so excited about questions? Where did this come from? When I grew up, my parents sent me to a private Hebrew school, and it was run by rabbis, and it was a religious school, and the rabbis taught us the Bible in Hebrew, by the way, and they actually encouraged us to always challenge God, challenge the Bible. They didn't want us to take things at face value. So if I raised my hand and I said, why would God tell Abraham to sacrifice his son? The rabbi didn't go, shame on you for asking. He'd go, good question. He would be so excited that you would ask things. I couldn't wait to go to school. And when I thought about it, what was it? It was they were encouraging us to ask, to be curious, to know, to understand, because truly you can't understand something unless you really question it. And so I loved learning, but I also learned later that questions, Tony Robbins says this, the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life. So if I ask a bunch of bad questions, I'm going to get a shitty life. And if I ask a bunch of good questions, I'm going to have a great life. So here's the one, if everybody wants to know, this is the one I ask myself lately every morning. It's from my entrepreneur side, but I have other questions for my personal. So I love this question. It directs me. It's like my director for the day. And I will ask myself, because I want to gear myself, what's the best things I need to do for my business? And every day or night, I'll say, what would a happy millionaire entrepreneur do today? A negative, fearful entrepreneur would do something completely different than a happy millionaire. See the difference? And then when I ask that question, it gets me right on track. What I should be focusing on, what's moving the needle kind of actions. And that one question is powerful, and it gets me right on track, and I write it down. I go, yep, that's it, go. So that is the power of one question.
Wow, that is incredible. You know, I've heard that concept before of behaving as if, because that's the implication of that question, that particular example, is how would a 6 or 7 figure business owner operate today? When, I mean, in the context of online marketing, it would be for people with small lists, for example, maybe like, oh, well, not that many people are listening. Well, then, or on my list. So then they write their email with that in mind. But if they think like, I am a 6 or 7 figure business owner, I am speaking to hundreds of thousands of people, how would I operate if that's what was the case? I would show up every week. I would be consistent because that's what they do, right? So I'm really loving that question. And I'm especially loving that you added happy.
I did that because I had heard it before. What would a millionaire do? And I'm like, I don't want to be just a millionaire. I want to be a happy millionaire or a fulfilled. Yes, yes. Because a millionaire, just a millionaire, might be a workaholic. That's not what I want. I want to be freedom lifestyle, and that's part of my mission for other people. So happy millionaire. Yeah.
I love that. So, a really important tool is to just flip the question that you're asking yourself so that the answer can be positive, right? Yeah, I was thinking about your example, the why can't I lose weight? And I was like, there has to be like a positive way to answer that, but there really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
There
No,
really isn't.
why am I not losing weight? But a few questions would be, one of them is, what small step can I take? Another positive question could be, what would it take for me to make it easier? You see, it's usually what and how questions that you want to ask, not why. Why is dangerous, because it's why is this happening? Why can't I? So what could I do? How? What and how? What would a millionaire do? What So there's a million questions. It depends on what it is that you're doing. If you're sad, if you're just sad, you wouldn't say, what could I do? You could say, what could I do to be happy? That might even be too much of a stretch. But you could say, what small thing can I do to just uplift me just a little bit? It's like, think about it, about gradiating it, rather than go, whoop, it might be too big of a jump.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I like that gradiating it because I like first of all, actually, I had another point before, or the thing that I wanted to say before that is that the what can I do or how can I, those questions are action taking questions. So you're
Yeah.
not staying in your bubble of how you feel. It's okay. You can acknowledge it. You can say, like, I am sad or I'm not losing weight. What is the next step?
Right.
And you're so right. What are the little things? Because you want to make it doable. If it's too big of a step, you're likely not going to do it or not do it consistently. So like again, in the context of online marketing, it would be like, instead of planning a month's worth of social media, because batching content is really important, but that's a big goal. So if you haven't been doing that, just look at tomorrow's post. Just look at tomorrow's post. Same with sales. If you say you want to make 20 sales calls this week, but you never do it, just start with 2. How many can I do today? Just 2. And there's no judgment. I feel there's no judgment about the amount, what that number is, that small step is. The fact that you're taking action is amazing.
Moving forward. Positive questions move you forward. That's the whole point.
Right. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that tool with us. That's definitely something.
Tool, but if everybody who's listening to this just did one question a day, who would I need to be to step into blah, or what does a millionaire do? Whatever question you want, every single day, it lights you up. You're starting from a great space, and only good answers will come.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You don't need to know necessarily what their exact business strategy is or what their routine is. You know the answer. You know what it is to take smart action. And what do you think about this? Thinking about a very specific person, like what would Marie Forleo be doing this morning?
Right, exactly. You can step into a person that you admire for that particular thing, and you could do the same thing. I teach that too. Yeah.
So good. So good. Well, thank you for sharing that. I have a question for you. It's going in a little bit of a different direction, but before I do ask you that, was there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
I think that's it.
That's so good. That's so good. And I know that's just one of many tools that you have to offer. So you guys definitely go play with Ruth online. Ruth, can you share with us where we can find you online and connect with you?
Yeah, well, I also have a free gift.
I was going to come up with that right after, or ask you about that right afterwards. And that also special question too.
Yeah, my website is it's ruthstern.com, www.ruthstern.com. And I do have I don't want to confuse them. I think that's enough, really.
Well, that's fine. You can share all of them, and you guys, you just look in the post wherever you're seeing this, because I'm going to blast this on the internet. Go look at the post, and I'll have all the links there for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Including the free gift, which you've been so generous to offer to our audience. So please let
Yes.
us know what that is.
That free gift is really valuable, you guys, because this is all about what I've been talking about. And it's called How to Break Free from the 4 Big Blocks to Your Success. So it's tied to this, and it's other special techniques that I use. One is called tapping, and the other is visualization. And I take 4 of the biggest negative beliefs that most people have, like I'm not enough, I'm afraid of failing. I have video and an audio. It's almost like a mini little course, and we take each negative belief, and I do a tapping, which is I don't want to get into it now, but it's a psychology energy technique to help you release those negative beliefs and feelings. It's powerful, and a visualization for each one of them too. So literally, if you're suffering from any of those big beliefs, and I don't know anybody who doesn't, but we all have them, it's going to be already very, very helpful for you to release those blocks and be free.
So good.
That link will be with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And in case you're viewing this video somewhere where it isn't, you can't find the post, whatever, I'm going to tell you really briefly what it is. It's Ruth Stern, L as in Lima, pages.co/break-free-opt-in. I like to say that because you never know where they're watching the video, and it's really important for me to be able to, for them to access it, you know? Okay, so thank you for sharing that with us. And this final very special question that you know that I'm going to ask is, the reason why I'm asking this, you guys, is because Ruth recently interviewed me on her platform. She asked me this, and I'm like, this is a really good question, because I feel that every entrepreneur has a really important message to share with the world. So the question is, if you were on a stage to share with thousands of people and you could share one message, what would it be?
So I didn't really practice this. I'm used to asking it, but I'm going to kind of go maybe with what I'm talking about, that every single person has the power. Every day we have the power within us to think either negative or positive. There's always a fork in the road, and we have that choice. And literally, when you learn some tools that help you change that, you literally change the trajectory of your life. That when you change your mind, you literally can change your life and your business. That's my message.
Absolutely. May I add a story attached to that? So I learned that tool, or that mindset rather, that you can create your life essentially, like about a year ago, and it's been so powerful. So some of you may know that I teach piano on the side, and just because I love piano and I love teaching, and I'm like, you know, have a whatever. Anyway, so one of my students who is, he was like, I think 6 or 7 years old at the time. He was kind of down that day and kind of just like, not really like putting all his effort in. And I was like, hey, what's going on, buddy? And he said, piano is just so boring. And I'm like, well, do you want it to be boring? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, would it be cool if it was fun? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so what if it was fun? You know, there was that fork in the road. He could either choose that it would be boring. He could either ask the question, like the disempowering question, or he could choose that it would be fun. Or he can ask the question that's empowering, right? And so he was like, what? I can't choose it. That's just what it's going to be. So then I gave him a little lecture for like 5 minutes, and he still didn't, in his conscious mind, he still didn't get it. But by the end of the lesson, he was rocking the piano and he was very hyper, and it was awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, this message, it applies to you guys. It applies to your kids, your grandkids, nieces, nephews, everybody of every age.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And also non-entrepreneurs too. That's really good. I knew, even though you hadn't rehearsed it, I knew it was in there somewhere because you're really clear. I think you're really clear on how you want to serve people in the world.
I'm very clear. Yes. As you are.
Well, Ruth, thank you so much for joining us. Again, you guys go check out her website, ruthstern.com. I said the URL for her opt-in, her freebie earlier, which you should definitely grab. It probably shouldn't even be a freebie. It should probably be paid, just letting you know. It sounds really valuable. And if you guys have any questions for Ruth, feel free to reach out to her. I know that she's really open to connecting with all of you. Again, Ruth, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you everybody for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.